I'm Ryan Witte from Holley EFI, and today we're going to go over some things in the Holley EFI about how to get your car to spool faster in a drag race setting. We'll probably talk about 2 or 3 different ways to do it, and we'll just dive right in. So the first way is using under our Boost Control ICF. If you go down to the Boost Builder section, we have some pre-canned parameters that you can use to help with spooling. They're fairly simple. There's more advanced and better ways to do it, but this works for some applications. You have minimum TPS for activation, which is just you have to be over that TPS for it to start doing anything, and then a minimum and a maximum boost for it to activate, and that's just your window where it will take action. And the 2 things you usually do are fixed timing, where you just manipulate the timing value, or a fixed fuel value. Sometimes you do both, mostly only on clutch cars. Torque converter automatic cars, you'll use timing only usually. And what that will look like is you'll take some amount of timing that's way less than normal in a specific window to try to get the engine to spool faster. The magic is figuring out what numbers you need. If you do it too early with this method, it doesn't spool, the engine falls on its face, and you never go anywhere. It's worse than not using it at all. If you're too late, it doesn't help much. You don't pick up any time. And I actually think I have a good log of this. So what I'm going to do is just set up actually go to File, Open, and go to the default twin turbo injectors and see what I have there. Boost, target boost. This one will work. Alright, so we're going to deactivate AFR left and right. Keep ignition timing. Keep our target boost. Actual boost, there we go. So if we go in here, we can see that ignition timing is the gold line here. Red line is boost, red is RPM. So what we do is we let it get up nice and high, and it gets to about 10 pounds of boost before we turn on the boost builder. At that point, it steps the timing out, drops it to 15 degrees, and holds it there to build the rest of the boost. And you can see that when it happens, it actually does bring the boost line more vertical, so it does help build boosts faster. And then once it gets to my target boost of 16 pounds, we turn the boost builder off and step the timing back in, and that has the effect of helping hold the boost steady. As you add the timing, you lose some exhaust heat and energy, and when you step it back down, it adds heat and energy to the exhaust. So what we're doing is balancing that timing to keep the boost stable on the trans brake. So that's what this is right here, is the timing going in and out, in and out, in and out. Then when you let go of the trans brake, timing goes back to normal. You launch, and looks like he spun in this one. The other method is more advanced. The problem with this method is you have this step in timing. And if you don't time it right, the engine RPM falls. So you can see that this one's already on the 2-step, so when the timing steps out, it doesn't affect the motor too bad. But if I were to try to do it back here, it's entirely possible the engine RPM would stop rising and just go flat. And if the boost doesn't keep rising at that point, then you'll never get to the 2-step and you'll never launch. You won't go fast. Right here where it wiggles, that's your 2-step. Yeah. That's my RPM. So there's a lot of cars, and you'll hear cars do it sometimes when they use this method, is they'll be coming up, they'll be coming up in the RPM, and you'll hear them just stop for a second. They'll go, and right there is usually where they're stepping out the timing. And in a data log, you'll see that show up as it kind of flatlines and then continues up. So when you look at that one, you see your boost line here, and you see the boost is starting to flatten out by the time I actually use it. So the boost had, if you look at your line, the boost had started to get flat just a little bit before. So I really wanted to bring it back probably there, or even back towards the beginning of the 2-step there. So what I would have done in this case is, instead of using 10 psi in the tune, so instead of turning it on at 10 psi, I would turn it on at 7 psi and see what it did for the next time. And then we'd see if the boost line and the RPM line behave. So if RPM stayed up on the 2-step, we're good. If the boost line became more vertical, because that's what we're looking for, is a faster rise, then it's good, and that was an improvement. If it comes in flat lines, either one, the RPM or the boost, that was too early and I need to do it a little later. That's the easy method. That's what I tell people to do on cars that are just getting started to try. And if the car is becoming really sensitive, then you go and you build an advanced table instead of doing it. So what the advanced table would look like is, instead of using the boost builder, you would go turn that off. So you just come over here and disable that, and then you've got no boost builder. It's not doing anything. Come over here, and there's multiple ways to do it. I prefer a 1D table. I just call it spool timing is what I name it, or spool baby spool. And then timing offset is what you would use, and then I use an x-axis of boost. And then to turn it on, I use a switched enable, and I'll use the trans brake. Launch input must be enabled, and TPS is above 75. So you've pressed the trans brake button, you floored the throttle. We know we want to build boost. So we take this table and you scale it for more than what your launch boost will be, but not by a ton. So since this car is launching at 16 pounds, I'd actually put it at 20. And then instead of having the timing step out, I would probably, by 10 pounds, call it 9 pounds, I would have that same amount of timing out, which means I had it going to 15 degrees. The timing table shows we're roughly 34. So I would have to pull 19 degrees out of it to accomplish the same thing. So we would go to this 9 pounds right here. I'd pull minus 19. And what I would do is, at 4 degrees, or 4 pounds of boost, I would ramp it down. And then we would hold that 19 out all the way up to our 16 pounds. And then I would take it 16.1 and have it back at 0. And what that does is it gives us the same effect of turning the boost builder on and off at our set point, so that it still steps the timing in and out and maintains boost. But instead of stepping the timing out on the low side when we're building up, it ramps it out gradually, which has the effect of not shocking the motor and the boost curve, so you're more likely to continue that rise. That's all there really is to boost builder. It's that simple.